Law Minister Ravishankar Prasad initiates a debate on the Muslim Women Protection of Rights and Marriage Bill 2019. Government says must for gender justice. RTI Amendment Bill introduced in Rajya Sabha amidst uproar. Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat tables Interstate River Water Disputes Amendment Bill 2019 in Lok Sabha. Supreme Court orders a setting up of special courts in districts with over 100 pending POCSO cases, asks a centre to apprise it about the status of compliance of the order in 30 days. Fugitive diamond merchant Nirav Modi's bail plea rejected by Westminster Magistrates Court in PNB fraud and a money laundering case, remanded to custody until 22nd August. And in sports, Indian shuttlers P V Sindhu enters quarter-final of Japan Badminton Open, beats AYA OHORI of Japan in 1 hour. Hello and welcome. You're watching DD India and DD News with me, Manun Paracharya. Let's get started with our top story. Among the government's topmost priorities, Lok Sabha is currently discussing a legislation which seeks to criminalize instant triple talaq. It was the first draft legislation tabled by the Nirav Modi government in this first session after it took oath of office for a second term in May. The Muslim Women Protection of Rights and Marriage Bill 2019 proposes to declare the practice of instant triple talaq as void and illegal. Union Law Minister Ravishankar Prasad moved the bill for consideration and passage in the lower house. The legislation also makes instant triple talaq punishable with imprisonment up to 3 years and fine. It also provides for payment of subsistence allowance to married Muslim women and dependent children. The bill will replace the ordinance promulgated earlier in this regard. The fresh Muslim Women Protection of Rights and Marriage Bill was introduced in Lok Sabha on 21st June. Law Minister Ravishankar Prasad appealed to the House to pass the legislation and take a major step forward in ensuring gender justice. He said that if Islamic nations can ban triple talaq, why can't a secular country like India do so?
क्या हमारे मुस्लिम समाज की बेटियों को, बहनों को, खवातीनों को इसी प्रकार से छोड़ दिया जाए? 3 सवाल खड़े होते हैं सर। पहला सवाल है, अगर दुनिया के 20 से अधिक इस्लामिक मुल्कों ने 3 तलाक को नियंत्रित किया एक प्रकार और दूसरे प्रकार से, तो हिंदुस्तान एक सेकुलर मुल्क है, ऐसा क्यों नहीं कर सकता? करना चाहिए। यह पहला सवाल है। दूसरा सवाल है सर, जो बहुत जरूरी है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा गलत है, चीफ जस्टिस ने कहा संसद कानून बनाए, हम कानून बना करके आए तो कहा जाए इसका विरोध करें। तो क्या ये जो हमारी विक्टिम बहनें हैं वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले को अपने घर में टांगे? कोई कार्रवाई नहीं हो सकती सर। 70 साल संविधान के हो गए सर, और आज भारत के संविधान का बार बार उधर से कोई बात आती है तो संविधान की दुहाई देते हैं और सुप्रीम कोर्ट के फैसले की बात कही जाती है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला क्या मैंने पढ़ दिया सर। भारत के संविधान का जो कोर फिलॉसफी है, जो मैं तीसरी बात कह रहा हूं सर, उसमें जेंडर जस्टिस, महिलाओं के साथ न्याय भारतीय संविधान का मूल दर्शन है। एक ये समझने की जरूरत है।
While taking part in the discussion on the bill related to triple talaq in Lok Sabha, Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi said that the opposition's concern over the jail term to the triple talaq victim's husband is baseless. He said that if crime is committed, then husband must face the consequences.
ट्रिपल तलाक भी ठीक उसी तरह की कुप्रथा है, ठीक उसी तरह की सामाजिक बुराई है। अब इस सामाजिक बुराई और कुप्रथा पर जो है वो जो लोग तर्क दे रहे हैं, वो तर्क दे रहे हैं कि साहब अगर जो है वो पति जेल चला जाएगा तो फिर वो देखेगा कौन? अरे भैया जेल जाओ क्यों, तुम्हें इसकी ऐसा काम करो कि जेल जाना पड़े तुम्हें। मतलब ये तो तर्क वो हो गया कि हम आतंकवाद करेंगे, हमें कानून मत बनाओ, अगर आतंकवाद कर दिया और तो हम जेल चले जाएंगे तो हमारे परिवार को कौन देखेगा। ये तर्क नहीं है, ये कुतर्क है। इसलिए इस तरह के कुतर्कों के आधार पर इस तरह के सामाजिक सुधार से जुड़े हुए सवाल जो है वो हल नहीं होते।
BJP MP Meenakshi Lekhi said that in a secular country like India, gender justice is the need of the hour.
Secular India which protects the women, secular India which takes care of the Dalits, secular India where men, women are equal, where there is gender justice, where there is justice for everyone. Why a section should be neglected? ये अधिकार दिए नहीं जाते, ये अधिकार लिए जाते हैं. And these laws have given us the right to be equal. And these are the laws which can give rights to the ones who have been left out. Who were left out? Muslim women were left out of the process of changes which happened in Hindu society.
While opposing the bill, DMK MP Kanimoi said government should pass the 33% women's reservation bill first before discussing the rights of Muslim women.
We are passing bills here without enough representation of women. It is in your own manifesto, election manifesto, that you will pass the 33% women reservation bill. But nothing, one term has passed and the second term is starting. It has not even been listed. Let there be no women. This bill you claim is to protect women's rights. Why can't women be here to participate, to be a part of this dialogue? And let us decide what is good for us. We don't want the men to tell us what is good for us. So please pass the 33% women's reservation bill before you talk about women's rights.
Congress MP Gaurav Gogoi said his party welcomes the Supreme Court order to make a law on triple talaq, but it has reservations on criminalizing instant triple talaq.
कांग्रेस की स्थिति बहुत स्पष्ट है। जिस दिन सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट आया था उसी दिन हमारी पार्टी सबसे पहली पार्टी थी जिसने सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट का हमने वेलकम किया था। सुप्रीम कोर्ट क्या बोल रहा है कि आप बेशक आप कानून लाइए और जो आप कानून लाएंगे शरीयत के अनुकूल वो कानून है कि नहीं, और दूसरे 22 देशों में जहां पे तलाक के बिद्दत बैंड है उसका भी आप अध्ययन कर लीजिए। अब मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं कानून मंत्री जी से कि वर्तमान के सुप्रीम कोर्ट के जजमेंट में कहां लिखा है कि तलाक के बिद्दत को आप क्रिमिनल ऑफेंस कर दीजिए।
The Upper House of Parliament today took up for consideration and passage the Right to Information Amendment Bill 2019 and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2019. The bill seeks to give the government powers to fix salaries, tenures and other terms and conditions of employment of information commissioners. The opposition is opposing the bill, saying it will dilute the powers of information commissioners. Opposition is reiterating its demand to send the bill to Select Committee. Lok Sabha passed RTI Amendment Bill 2019 on Monday. Jal Shakti Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat today introduced the Interstate River Water Disputes Amendment Bill 2019 in Lok Sabha. Speaking after introducing the bill, the minister said that the bill was earlier introduced in 2017, after which it was sent to the Standing Committee. He added that the bill has been brought after deliberations with various state governments.
मैं माननीय सब सदस्यों की जानकारी के लिए बताना चाहता हूं कि 2013 में इस बिल को स्टेट से प्रॉपर कंसल्टेशन के बाद में ही लाया गया था और ड्राफ्ट बिल कंसल्टेशन करने के बाद में ही सदन में प्रस्तुत किया गया था। क्योंकि 2017 का बिल प्रस्तुत करने के बाद में स्टैंडिंग कमेटी ने जब रिपोर्ट दिया उसके आधार पर बिल वापस इंट्रोड्यूस होने के बाद लोकसभा का अवधि समाप्त हो गई थी, इसलिए इस बिल को वापस पुनः सदन के विचार के लिए प्रस्तुत किया है।
5 members took oath as members of Rajya Sabha today. The members include AYA DMK leaders N. Chandrasekharan and A. Muhammad John, DMK members N. Shanmugam, MDMK leader Vaiko and another DMK leader P. Wilson. The 36th meeting of the GST Council, which was scheduled to be held in New Delhi today, has been postponed. The meeting will be scheduled for a later date. The last meeting of the GST Council was held on 21st June, but the last date for filing of GST returns for financial year 2017-18 was extended by 2 months to August 2019. The Supreme Court today directed the sender to fund special POCSO, that is protection of children from sexual offences courts in every district where 100 or more cases under POCSO Act are pending. The court directed that the courts should be set up within 60 days. Solicitor General Tushar Mehta has been asked to file a progress report in 4 weeks. The special courts will try the pending cases of sexual assault on children under the POCSO Act. The court said it would take up the matter again on 26th September. This comes a day after the Rajya Sabha on Wednesday passed the bill for amending the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences or POCSO Act. The Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2019 provides for stringent punishment, including life imprisonment for using children for pornographic purposes. A delegation of Karnataka BJP leaders today called on Party National President Amit Shah and Working President JP Nadda. Karnataka's former Chief Minister Jagdish Shettar and party leaders J. Crew Madhuswamy and Arvind Limbavali were part of the delegation. The leaders discussed the current political scenario in the state, formation of BJP government there and future strategy of the party. BJP has said that party's parliamentary board meeting will take the final call on the issue and it will be conveyed to the state unit. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court today allowed 2 Karnataka MLAs to withdraw their petition after H.D. Kumaraswamy lost the trust vote in Karnataka Assembly and tendered his resignation. The independent MLAs had moved the apex court, saying the state has plunged into a political crisis after they withdrew their support to the JDS Congress government, and 16 lawmakers of the ruling coalition tendered their resignations. In their plea, they had sought directions to the Speaker to hold voting on the floor test. As part of the 20th anniversary celebrations of Kargil Vijay Divas, a motorcycle expedition commemorating 20th anniversary of Kargil Vijay Divas concluded today. The motorcycle expedition was conducted by a team from 13th Battalion of Jammu and Kashmir Rifles, which was one of the units of the Indian Army that proved its mettle in Operation Vijay, winning 2 Paramveer Chakras amongst many other gallantry awards. The expedition team, which consisted of 10 personnel of 13 J&K Rifles, travels the distance of approximately 1,850 kilometers from Mana Pass in Uttarakhand to Dras over a period of 21 days. The expedition was flagged off at the Kargil War Memorial, Dras, by Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi. President Ramnath Kovind will visit War Memorial in Dras tomorrow to pay tributes to the soldiers who made the supreme sacrifice during 1999 Kargil War. This year marks 20 years of India's triumph at Kargil. As the nation gears up to celebrate 20 years of Kargil victory, Army Chief General Bipin Rawat said that Pakistan will not dare to think for an event and war like Kargil in future. Addressing media persons, he said that in today's scenario, India has an edge in all the sectors.
I am quite sure, even you are confident that the adversary will never attempt this again. In fact, this was a big misadventure undertaken by the Pakistan Army in 1999. They did not appreciate the will and the intent of the Indian political establishment and the Indian armed forces, that they will never allow them to succeed, and no matter what heights they capture, the Indian Army will always get back to them and recapture those heights. And this was evident during the Kargil War in 1999.
Birth anniversary of former Lok Sabha Speaker Somnath Chatterjee is being celebrated today. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha paid tributes to former Lok Sabha Speaker Somnath Chatterjee at the Central Hall of Parliament on his birth anniversary. Somnath Chatterjee was a member of CPIM from 1973 to 2008. He was elected for the 10th time in 2004 as a member of the 14th Lok Sabha from Bolpur Lok Sabha constituency. Following the 2004 election, he was appointed as the pro tem speaker, and subsequently on 4th June 2004 he was elected as the speaker of the 14th Lok Sabha. A UK court has rejected the bail plea of fugitive diamond merchant Nirav Modi, who is lodged in London jail in 13,700 crore rupees Punjab National Bank fraud. The next hearing in the case will be on 22nd August. Till then, Nirav would remain in jail. The 48-year-old has been behind bars at the Wandsworth prison in southwest London since his arrest in March. Nirav Modi faces extradition to India as the principal beneficiary of the fraudulent issuance of letters of undertaking as part of a conspiracy to defraud PNB and then laundering the proceeds of crime. Former FBI Director Robert Mueller appeared before two congressional committees on Wednesday to respond to questions from congressmen on the recently concluded investigations about his allegations of Russian interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. His testimonies took several hours. The Democrats alleged that the Russian interference helped Trump in his election. Here's what he said about Russia's role.
First, our investigation found that the Russian government interfered in our election in sweeping and systematic fashion. Second, the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired with the Russian government in its election interference activities. We did not address collusion, which is not a legal term. Rather, we focused on whether the evidence was sufficient to charge any member of the campaign with taking part in a criminal conspiracy, and it was not.
Mueller, when grilled, mentioned a few times for clarity that he did not exonerate President Donald Trump from the charge of obstruction of justice. But in a final testimony, he said they could not conclude whether the role of the U.S. president amounted to a crime.
I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Liu, who said, and I quote, "You didn't charge the president because of the OLC opinion." That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said at the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.
Belgium faces a heat wave with record-breaking temperatures which are expected to climb to 40 degrees according to the Royal Met Institute of Belgium. Brussels forecast to reach 40 degrees Celsius on Thursday, and much of the country is on red alert. Some Belgian authorities say they have never seen anything like it. Red alerts are issued for extremely high temperatures. In France, 80 of the 96 regions in the mainland of the country are on alert because of the heat. Water restrictions are in place across the country. One French village recorded temperatures of 45.1 degrees Celsius. France opened new public pools and parks to keep people cool and avoid a repeat of the 2003 heat wave that killed 15,000 people. Bonn, a high-pressure hot air mass that is grilling Europe, has lifted surface air temperatures in Germany beyond 40 degrees Celsius. Germany is expecting overnight temperatures to hardly drop below 24 degrees in many places, including in and around Frankfurt. Spain and other countries of southern Europe have lived with these conditions for a long time. The interior of Spain will also endure several more days of intense heat. The anniversary of a historic landmark in aviation will take place today, marking 110 years since Frenchman Louis Blériot made the first part crossing of the English Channel, flying his Blériot 11 monoplane from Calais to near Dover. The 36-minute flight was widely acclaimed as a significant achievement, with the company Blériot setting up becoming a major manufacturer of aircraft. French inventor Frankie Zapata will seek to emulate Blériot in crossing the Channel, this time using a flyboard rather than an airplane. He will set off from Sangatte on the North French coast on Thursday to fly to St. Margaret's Bay near Dover, with the flight expected to take just 20 minutes. To cross the English Channel, Zapata will have to travel 36 kilometers, reaching speeds of up to 140 kilometers an hour. He will fly at between 15 and 20 meters above the sea. as is standard with his invention. In sports news, India's top-ranked shuttler P V Sindhu survived a stiff battle against her familiar foe and local shuttler AYA OHORI in the women's singles second round of the Japan Open in Tokyo. Sindhu, who had finished runner-up at the Indonesia Open last week, lost the opening game to unseeded AYA OHORI 21-11 before making a strong comeback to take the match 11-21, 21-10, 21-13 in 61 minutes.
In new territory now, first ever quarter-final.
Meanwhile, world number 23 B Sai Praneeth continued his good run in Tokyo with a comfortable straight game win over local shuttler Kanta Tsuneyama. On the eve of Tokyo Olympics countdown, Union Sports Minister Kiren Rijiju sent his best wishes to Indian athletes who have qualified for Tokyo 2020 Olympics. The Tokyo Olympics will run from 24th July to 9th August next year. After 1 year from now, eyes will be trained on the Indian contingent that will be out in the heat of Tokyo competing at the world's grandest stage. MS Dhoni has begun his 2 months training with Territorial Army Unit of the Parachute Regiment, and he will be taking the duties of patrolling, guard and post duty in Kashmir. He will be with the unit which is in Kashmir as part of Victor Force from 31st July to 15th August 2019. Dhoni was conferred with the honorary rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the Parachute Regiment of the Indian Army in 2011. Dhoni became a qualified paratrooper in 2015 after having completed 5 parachute training jumps from Indian Army aircrafts in the Agra training camp. That's it then. In this edition of the news and updates will continue on DD India and DD News.